Hey, this is Crypto Neptune, and I have some special guests today, and they are with PTGC, the Grays currency. So we're going to talk about the Grays currency today and kind of get an in-depth overview. So I appreciate the Prairie Banana and Zen for joining me today. How's it going, fellas?
It's going good.
What's up, guys? Thank you, Crypto Neptune, for having us.
Yep, definitely appreciate you guys being on. And when I was talking to the Prairie Banana, we're talking about kind of like our journey into PulseChain. So I would like to know, how did you guys first get onto PulseChain?
Shoot, Banana, you can start.
Okay. I started with Richard Hart in 2021. And right at the end, I think it was right at the end of the PulseChain sacrifice. I got in on the Pulse X sacrifice and then, waited like everyone else for PulseChain to launch. And, I bounced around a little bit around the community, around some different tokens. I discovered PTGC relatively early on, and then messed around a little bit. Everything came right back to PTGC, and I'm kind of pretty much just hung my hat on PTGC. I'll drop this in here. There was a guy on our spaces on Monday. Sorry if I'm like hijacking the stream, but this dude literally said it's been ringing in my ears. This guy said without skipping a beat multiple times that he's like, PTGC is the Shiba Inu of this cycle. That's why I'm here, because I kind of sense a little bit of something like that too. So that was probably a little too much, but
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
that.
that's great because when you have something like that and a statement like PTGC could potentially be the gem of this cycle, we definitely want to dive in kind of deeper into that. So yeah, that's definitely a great something that we can definitely segue into. And far as you, Zen, kind of tell me about your journey into PulseChain.
Yeah, I don't even mind starting with my journey into crypto as
Okay.
well. My journey into Hex happened very early on in my journey into crypto. So I think it's a great place to start. Is I have businesses in the real world. Businesses started doing decently well, got to a point where I didn't need to keep putting the money I was making in the businesses into the businesses, got them to a point I was happy with, and then wanted to start finding some great places to store value, to invest value, to make my money working for me. Got some money into some more diversified stock accounts and realized really quick the growth of those accounts for the most part just counteract inflation. Like it's very hard to get some serious gains there because of inflation going on all the time. So I did look for some more speculative things like ETH and Bitcoin to start storing some value in, um, to get my capital obviously to increase faster than inflation, plus some on top as well. After I was in Bitcoin and Ethereum for a little bit, I had a family friend or a coworker friend introduced me to Richard Hart in Hex. He was a day one Hex person, and he kind of put me down the rabbit hole of decentralized finance, what Hex was, what some other products on chain was, and I became very passionate about it. Um, got pretty on board with Hex. Richard Hart was one of the people I like to learn a lot from. Started looking throughout the rest of cryptocurrency, other blockchains, other DeFi protocols, even at some meme tokens and stuff like that, to find other good gems. And what I was running into, because I was earning capital in real life and wanting to bring it into on chain, there wasn't a lot of protocols that was worth my capital. I had a list of boxes I was looking to check as far as opportunity, as far as security, as far as, APY built into the system, scarcity, all these, these boxes everyone should have when they're looking for cryptocurrencies. And you have to look and look and look, and really there's not a lot of stuff out there. Um, I really liked Richard's products. I felt like he really thought about a lot of these things people are looking for as far as products go. Is why I kind of made his products my home base. But I also thought, with time, I could create something that actually even embodied a few of the other features that I was looking for in a product, and that's PTGC, right? So I was in Hex. I think I got in the first time around a cent, and this is a very, very long time ago. It went all the way up to 50 cents, all the way back down to below a cent, obviously below that right now. And then day one PulseChain, day one PulseX as well. And pretty much ever since PulseChain and PulseX have been out, I've just made this my full-time home. I believe in the products long-term. I'm in crypto for long-term gains. I'm not really a short-term flipper or anything like that. When I get into a product, everything I'm looking at is more like long-term visions. What can this do for me 5 years from now, 10 years from now, so on and so forth.
And so it's interesting. So you brought up a couple of different things. So pretty much you're in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you're a stock guy. So that kind of raised an eyebrow for me. So you not only are you in traditional markets, but you're in crypto and you're looking for a way to earn more, which led you over to Richard Hart's ecosystem. So definitely cool to hear that you are in Hex and you saw that movement up to, what was it, like 55 cents in 2001?
Correct. Yep.
Or 2021, I should say. And you saw that movement up the chain. So yeah, definitely cool to hear that. As for me, like my journey with PulseChain, it was a lot later. So I didn't get into PulseChain until August of 2023. So this was like after PulseChain launched in, was it 2023? I believe May of 2023 is when PulseChain launched.
Yep.
So it's a little bit after the fact, but I heard about Richard Hart and the amount of wealth that he created with Hex. So that to me was like, okay, that's an eyebrow raising moment. And it's a truly decentralized chain. There's no middlemen. So I was like, okay, this is pretty much an opportunity to learn about PulseChain, PulseX. And I was in some ROI dApps too on PulseChain in the beginning, but definitely cool to kind of hear that journey. And I guess getting into, we can segue into PTGC and kind of like the ways we can earn in this protocol, because that's what a lot of people want to know in crypto is like, how can you earn in PTGC? And it's for anyone who wants to.
Yeah, it's pretty simple with PTGC or UFO. You simply hold the tokens and you can earn reflections. But then there are other ways that you can earn also. Like with PTGC, you can stake the tokens and earn about 160% more in addition to your reflections, because you'll still earn reflections. So you can stake them, and then you can lock tokens also, and you can earn more by locking the tokens also. And when you lock, you're still earning your staking rewards and your reflections also. And everybody can see, like, there's another token right there. It's called UFO, which came out about 5 or 6 months after PTGC. It's an amplifier for the PTGC token, and it burns PTGC. It has thicker liquidity. Each of them has characteristics that they have excellent characteristics, but they're both very, very different. Like PTGC's liquidity is mostly burned. UFO's liquidity is user provided. Those are just some of the highlights of the two.
Yeah, I'd like to add something there too. And it's not so much how you earn within PTGC. I think Banana covered that, but why I think it's such an amazing feature to be able to earn within a protocol, having the APY built into the code instead of having to put the value at risk or provide LP with it or give the custody of those tokens to a different smart contract, and what kind of risk that actually takes on to the user providing, the tokens outwards instead of having it all built inwards. Is in life, if you make value by working, or if you run across some value, or you slowly save up and get some value, you're always kind of asking yourself, like, how can I put this value to work? You know what I mean? you don't only want to put it in something that's appreciating over time, but you also want it in a way generating revenue for you if you can find that product. Most products you get like price appreciation, but no revenue generation. Some you get revenue generation, but no price appreciation. So that was kind of one of the goals within PTGC, is not only offer them a product that can appreciate a lot in price. Like obviously we've appreciated a lot already, and we plan on appreciating a lot more going into this cycle. But also, once you get that price appreciation, you want it to be revenue generating, because that gives users a reason to stay, right? If you're not going to give the users within the system a way to generate revenue, they're going to take that value and go elsewhere, go to a place that is willing to give them a revenue source for that value. Especially as time goes on, price appreciation becomes less and less and less, because everything has an S curve, right? I personally believe PTGC's at the beginning stages of its S curve, specifically because we're built on a blockchain that's extremely undervalued, and we have plenty of X's we can do ourselves as well. But when we do start getting to higher market cap levels, let's say we make it to the top 50 of cryptocurrency. Shiba Inu is a great example of this, because Banana mentioned that earlier. A lot of people who hold Shiba Inu, yes, they've done a lot of X's, but now they're just kind of sitting on that value, looking for times that they can exit out of their position, because that value is not working for them whatsoever. And that's what's super unique about PTGC, is we have the goal of getting everyone in extreme amounts of profits. But once we're in profits, we want to put that value to work to make it to where these users are actually earning a passive income off of their newfound wealth.
So this is essentially kind of, like you said, it's a self-sustaining system in which PTGZ is earning revenue, and those revenues are going back to the holders. Is that kind of the best way to explain it?
Mm-hmm. And then as price appreciates, each user has more value, and that more value in a way actually starts generating more revenue, because the more your personal portfolio is worth, the more the overall ecosystem is worth. As our ecosystem grows, liquidity grows, which then makes the revenue generation grow as well, because arbitrage bots have to move more money back and forth to fix pairs. If they have to move more money to fix pairs, that helps price go up even more, because we're buying and burning, and that helps you earn even more, because you earn your trustless APY based on your percentage of the supply. So the goal is, obviously, as time goes on, to keep the system growing, and then as the system grows, so does your APY that you're receiving from the asset that you're holding. A lot of people don't realize, when you're holding a standard token, or even a lot of other assets that exist, that asset isn't actually working for you. You're just kind of storing it in your wallet like a piggy bank. You know what I mean? Like you're like taking gold and hiding it in the safe, or you're taking cash, putting it in a piggy bank, but that value isn't working for you when you're just storing it there. Where PTGC offers this very unique way that you can actually store your tokens with self-custody. But since we have this liquidity web style setup, the value that you put in to get the PTGC tokens automatically gets put to work. When you put, let's say, PLS or ETH or whatever into the liquidity web to get the PTGC tokens, the liquidity web is actually using that value to work for the entire system, not only paying you, but also helping increasing the system's price as well.
So I'm glad you brought up that liquidity web. Prairie Banana, can you show that liquidity web on your side by chance? Because it is really interesting to see that.
Yep, I can show it.
Because it's nothing like that I've seen before from a liquidity web perspective. Essentially, your PTGC is tied to all of these other assets on PulseChain, and it has the ability to be pulled up by those other assets, but also be self-sustaining.
Correct. Yeah. So sadly, since the launch of PTGC, a lot of the assets that we're bonded to are actually like 5x down. For an example, when we launched, PulseChain was actually at 4 zeros and a 5, and right now we're at like 5 zeros and a 9. We're like over 5x down on the things that we're bonded to. So we've actually been getting dragged down by the entire PulseChain ecosystem to date. Again, I believe that's just giving an opportunity to the people who are actually finding out about PTGC 2.5 years later. Because if you think about it, if PulseChain was at the prices that even it was when we launched, or even a little bit higher like we thought it would be, the price to get a significant amount of PTGC would be 5, 10, 20x more, right? So PulseChain actually being pulled back is giving us the opportunity to onboard and educate new users at these bottom dollar prices that technically wouldn't be here if PulseChain wasn't coming down. The trick is we actually think PulseChain is going to reverse eventually. We actually think since PulseChain is so low, the movement upward is going to be that much bigger and that much more volatile in the future. And it's just opportunity for the people who are paying attention. But yes, the point is in the future, and even right now, when these tokens move up and down, we're not only getting free price appreciation from that. I call it the X multiplier. We can get into that in a little bit too. But we're also using all these tokens not only as diversification for our community. So when you hold PTGC, you're actually exposed to growth or loss of a lot of different other tokens, similar to an index, right? Like a lot of people will put money into indexes to diversify, but they only want to hold one product. In finance, that's one of the biggest sectors. So that's one thing that's unique about PTGC and UFO is when I was studying a bunch of other projects, it wasn't just crypto projects. It was a lot of successful, more IRL products as well. One of the biggest sectors of finance is indexes. People love the idea of holding many by holding one. So we're kind of offering that right now within cryptocurrency, but in a more decentralized way. And right now, that index consists of mainly PulseChain tokens. But as we evolve and as we grow, we're going to slowly start adding more legacy tokens as well, like Ethereum, like Bitcoin, like stables, etc. We have a little bit of ETH LP actually already, would be our main one. We have a little bit of stables in Wrap Bitcoin as well, but the main focus first, I think, would be Ethereum. And right now, a lot of our liquidity is with the RH tokens. But the goal is to create more diversification in the future as we grow. But yeah, we're not only indexing ourselves with a lot of different other assets. We're not only getting free X's from the things we're connected to, but we're also using these liquidity ties to generate revenue. And we're actually using the only guarantee markets give you as a way to generate revenue. And that's the market moving up and down. We don't need the market to move up. We don't need the market to move down. We just need the market to move. And every time the market moves, we get to utilize these movements to generate revenue and put that revenue to all the places that matter.
So got it. So you're earning revenues from all these different liquidity pairs. And I've also found it interesting too that you have a segment of Ethereum and you could be adding more assets outside of the PulseChain ecosystem. So if that's not an index, that's an index. So that's an eyebrow raising moment for me to kind of see that. But it's a good way to bring in other communities if you're on other chains or, like you said, other legacy coins.
Well, and I feel like the goal with PTGC is to kind of offer almost a similar design as what like a standard user wants to see in their wallet. If you look in a standard person's crypto wallet, they almost have an index created right there. They usually don't just have one token in there. They have a few safer tokens, maybe a few stables, maybe some ETH, maybe some Wrap Bitcoin. Then they also have a few more speculative plays as well, obviously for the more instant price appreciation, but then also some more secure. As PTGC evolves with time, our goal is to somewhat create something similar with the liquidity there. We'll have the more speculative plays. We're always keeping our eye out for the new movers that just come out. For an example, ProveX was just recently launched by Richard. And between PTGC and UFO right now, we have roughly $60,000 of LP already with ProveX. So our community is actually automatically being exposed to these new launches through our system. But we also want to not only focus on new launches, but the legacy assets we know are getting adoption, like Ethereum. We know Ethereum's getting some major adoption right now. We see all these major companies building on top of Ethereum. We see, tokenized stocks getting built on top of Ethereum. So all this infrastructure at the moment is being built on top of Ethereum. We don't only want to expose our community to speculative things. In the future, we want to also be focused on the more legacy things as well, just like a normal user would want to see in their own wallet.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because we have all these large institutions and companies adding Ethereum as an ETF. So it's just going to be more and more adoption over time.
And it's not only the ETF, it's also like a lot of the payment systems that they're working on, and their own infrastructure is being built on Ethereum as well. And I don't think that's been priced in yet, because they're still in the process of building it. None of it's being used quite yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like payment options, other decentralized applications, like all of that is being built on Ethereum. Pretty much the list goes on what they're doing with Ethereum. So yeah, I mean, again, I love the way this ecosystem is set up with PTGC and the quick action, by the way. So props to you, Xen, as far as the quick action, as far as adding ProveX as an LP, because that was fairly quick. It was pretty much same day, I think.
Yeah, we sacrificed. So luckily, Richard gave us the opportunity to sacrifice. We didn't know if we were going to be up from that sacrifice or down from that sacrifice. Obviously, it's only a couple days in, so even where we are in price right now might not be the complete future. It could be up for a little bit, then down for a little bit, then back up. Maybe it's just up from here. But we did make sure to expose our community in some way, not only for, again, the price appreciation or the diversification, but for me, most importantly, the value generation. Right? We knew that there was going to be volatility of that protocol when it came out. And since it's so volatile, it's actually one of our best performing pairs right now, even though it's not the largest, because it has so much volatility going on within that protocol. I think between PTGC and UFO, we've had like $10,000 through that pair in the last 24 hours. $10,000 through that specific pair means $20,000 of volume generated, period, because if an arbitrage bot interacts with that pair, it has to interact with another pair as well, because an arbitrage bot can't arbitrage without buying in another pair or selling in another pair, right? So an arbitrage bot isn't holding PTGC, but it wants to use PTGC's liquidity. So in the event of it wanting to access our liquidity, it has to buy cheap PTGC from one pool and sell the PTGC at a higher price in another pool. And then obviously that arbitrage bot gets to make money through that action. But more importantly, our ecosystem gets to make money through that action.
Yeah, so that's great. So it sounds like, yeah, you're generating a lot of revenues through that pairing. And yeah, definitely want to see that continue to benefit the ecosystem.
Yeah, maybe Banana, if you want to. Yeah, I was going to say, just show them real quick, not only what we've generated today, but also what we've been able to generate, in the last 3 months, 6 months, and a year, if you can.
Sure. So you've seen on some of the other screens that I was sharing, the volume that's going through our system. That's simply the buy and sell transaction volume. And then we put a fee on that, 5% in for PTGC. And that's the value generation, as you can see right here, the value generated. So in the last 24 hours from the volume, we've generated $3,533 in value generation from that 5% fee. And here is exactly, and you can go and look at these other timeframes too, the last 7 days. Let's go out to a year, $2.4 million in value generation. And here is where that value is distributed. 2% goes to the DAO. That's our decentralized autonomous organization. That always buys and burns tokens. It's going to add value to the system from that 2% of the 5%. And then 1% goes to rewards. That's the reflection rewards that our holders earn for holding the tokens. 0.5% burns PTGC, reducing the supply. 1% goes to stakers, those that choose to stake their tokens, and 0.5% is added to liquidity. So you're constantly increasing that price floor. And if you'll notice, okay, there's a 5% fee, and 3% of that is staying in the system, and only 2% can be extracted. How? By the reflection from the reflections and staking rewards. So you've got a net 20% of that 5%, 20% that remains in the system. It's pretty genius. Now I dropped a video in the link in the comment section, 45-second video I made yesterday about the fee distribution system.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really important, I think, to bring up Banana is we strategically designed the fee structure to where even if everyone took out every reward that they took into your wallet, every user, which isn't not going to happen, right? Not every user is going to instantly sell every reward. But even if they did, we made it to where there still is a net positive constantly going into the value of the system. So with every single reward that's paid out, there's more value making sure that we can still have constant price appreciation. A lot of people look at other APY protocols, and most of them are inflation based. So when they're getting an APY, it's not only additional tokens in supply, but there's no value actually backing that APY that's paid out. So even like a 5% inflation rate is a lot when you're in cryptocurrency, because every cryptocurrency is only backed by like 5% liquidity to market cap ratio. So if you're increasing your market cap by 5% in supply every single year, and you only have 5% of liquidity to market cap ratio, you're doing actually a lot of damage if those people aren't holding on to those tokens. So that's why we're very, very, very strategic about making sure everything that we pay out is actually backed by more value. And it's also obviously a deflationary system as well. So if you even just sold all your APY, as long as you held on to your initial purchase, you can sell all your APY. Your APY will actually increase because the token is deflationary. So instead of like a lot of other systems where you're constantly getting diluted by more supply to where you actually have to almost keep adding, or in the example of like Bitcoin miners, the power of a Bitcoin miner 5 years ago, you could run it with just a normal, not 5 years ago, but 10 years ago, you could do it with just your desktop. Well, now you need huge rigs and facilities, and you have to constantly keep improving. With this system, you actually don't need to keep getting more tokens. You just need to not get rid of your old ones. You need to hold on to them, and they'll become more valuable over time as far as their mining or the value generation capability.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So there's no minting to the Grace currency. So there's no inflation, and over time it's going to increase in value because it's deflationary. So that's something very important that I want people listening in to know about this particular project. Is it's deflationary, so that supply is going to dwindle over time and become more scarce.
Yeah, with the basic idea of economics, one of the most basic ideas is supply and demand. If you reduce supply and you increase the demand, you can actually somewhat control price to the upwards direction. So automatically, every single transaction within the Grays is reducing supply. So 100% of the supply is in circulation, and it reduces every single day. When we are doing these buy and burns, it's a buy and then a burn. So we're actually increasing the demand. This demand isn't super heavy, but where we've seen the price really start to move up is with very little influxes of actual demand. So humans interacting with the protocol. We have an affiliate system out, which has helped the demand in the recent couple months. Also, when PulseChain starts moving up, this helps increase the demand. When markets start moving up, this helps increase the demand. There's a lot of ways to increase the demand. We have a huge focus on in real life onboarding right now. Our community is actively trying to build a strong in real life community. So it's not just crypto natives, but average people too that aren't really into crypto as well. And as we constantly, every single day, decrease this supply, if we keep slightly focusing on this demand side, we will be able to control the price, and we can have nice runs even with the market not in our favor, or when the market does turn in our favor, that's where we've had some of our best runs in the past.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that drew me to PTGC was actually looking at the chart and realizing that it went on a few different runs while the market was doing the other thing. So definitely glad that you brought that up. And I'm not sure if we can bring up the.
What do you want to bring up?
PTGC chart. Yeah, let's do like the overall. Oh yeah, and it's also important to note too, this project is, what is it, 2+ years it's been out?
Yeah, it launched in October of 2023. And this is the PTGC chart right here in USD. I was customizing it a little bit
At the bottom,
yesterday.
way at the bottom, you should see like the 5-year. Click on that way at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, that way over to the left. Yep, down there it says 5-year. Yeah. Let's pull that up, and it should adjust here in a minute.
No, that's it. That's the whole chart.
Yeah, but yeah, as you can see, it's went on its magic runs on its own without the market. So, and I believe what the all-time high market cap was well over 300 million.
Mm-hmm. What was it, 350 million, Xen? So this is the chart in the PTGC chart in USD, and here's the chart in WPLS.
Sorry, I missed that question, just so you know. One of my guys was asking me something.
What was our market cap at the peak?
I think we got to 450 million.
Okay. And here's the chart in WPLS terms. Now, if you've been watching PulseChain, it has been grinding down for the whole life of PTGC. And this is PTGC working up. I should point this direction, huh? Working its way up against.
No, other direction.
It was the other way? Okay, because that's where my monitor is.
Yeah, there you go.
So it has been outperforming the chain. So you got to ask yourself, what do you think should happen when PulseChain finally starts going in the positive direction? And PTGC's already been in the positive direction against PulseChain. I mean,
yeah,
it could get real.
This is a big thing I think a lot of people actually get confused by. They think when the chain is moving down, it's easier to move up against it. And it's actually the opposite. Every time PLS is moving up, it's actually been easier for us to do X's against the blockchain, because when PLS moves up, it's the easiest indicator of new value moving into the chain. When PLS is moving down, that means value is leaving the chain. So when value is coming into the chain, it makes it easier for us to actually pick up new value, because there's actually a sign of value coming into the chain. So keep that in mind, guys. When PulseChain's moving down, it's actually harder to move up against PulseChain, because literally value is leaving the chain every single day. That's the PLS going down literally is telling you value is leaving PulseChain right now. When PLS is moving up, it's telling you value is coming in the PulseChain right now. So we actually have the ability to tap into clients. It's like the difference of, a store in a mall. When there's more users flowing into the mall than leaving, you have the opportunity to get more users into your store. But if everyone's leaving the mall, it's closing time, well, the opportunity to get people into your specific store become less and less and less, because they're actually walking out the door.
Yeah, definitely some great points here as far as it being able to, even when it's PLS has had that moment of moving down, we've had the moments where PTGC just doesn't care, and it wants to. It's kind of like a mind of its own, and still
it's a community of its own, right? That's one of the big things I think with focusing on building that community, not only of crypto natives, but in real life people too, because crypto natives, they do a lot of trading, and they move in and out a lot with the markets, bear and bull market. A lot of more in real life people, they're happy to just be exposed to something that can change their life. They're not looking for the new thing. They're not looking to stable up and then flip back in and then stable up. They're happy to find something at a good deal, and they're happy to be along for the ride, right? They're not checking it every single day and this and that. And then on top of that, we have a massive focus on onboarding during the cheapest prices. Right now are some of the cheapest prices. You know, PLS has been going down, ETH has been going down, Bitcoin's been going down, where most people look at that as like, oh, this is the time where I need to get out. I look at it, this is the time when you need to get people in, right? The time when you want to get people out is in the bull run, when we're hitting all-time highs, not when we're at a 95% discount. This is when we need to start knocking on the doors, tell family, friends, coworkers, people throughout crypto, Twitter, hey, if you're looking for a unique protocol that has pretty much every box that you're looking to check, come over to this protocol and check it out. It's on an undervalued blockchain. You know, most protocols are built on blockchains that have already done hundreds of X's. We are literally down 10x from the launch price. So potential of hundreds of X's just in the blockchain. But that doesn't even take into the fact that we can do tens to hundreds of X's just ourselves against the blockchain.
Yeah, and that's the important thing as far as, like you said, building the community, but also being in a project where you can get it on a discount. I mean, wouldn't you want to buy into something when it's on sale? Like, I know I do. Like if it's on a discount, that's when the ample opportunity to DCA in and kind of build your bag. But also everybody is looking for an opportunity to change their life, because that's why we're in crypto. Sure, I have my stock portfolios and things like that, but on the flip side of it, you have that opportunity with crypto, and it's going to be continuing to be more and more the future. So definitely an opportunity within this protocol. Let me look at some of these comments over here, because there was a question on here, and Jay Portman, shouts out to you. It says, will there ever be a third token in the grays?
You can pop some of those questions onto the StreamYard too if you want.
Let's see. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's never going to be a third token, but for me, more tokens is technically a form of inflation, and I don't see a reason to add tokens unless you legitimately figure out a new idea that specifically needs a new token to exist, and it's going to enhance the product of the previous tokens as well. PTGC alone, I think, is one of the best tokens that exist in cryptocurrency. So if we do run across the idea of creating another token that can extremely benefit PTGC in a way, or extremely benefit our community in a way that makes sense, then yeah, we'll consider the idea, but it has to help what's already existing, and it has to be a good idea. Just to create a project just cause, again, I think that is a form of inflation to an ecosystem, and I would be very picky about adding another token. For an example, we added UFO because I believed UFO had a very unique, brand new idea built behind it that not only would benefit our community in a way to farm specifically in our ecosystem, but also a way to buy and burn PTGC at a higher rate, utilizing the value of the community already, right? So everyone within PTGC could actually get UFO, create the farms, and put their value to work, earning themselves PLS rewards, but also having pretty much doubled our liquidity web that's now buying and burning PTGC at a higher rate. That's a great example of like why we came out with the second token. We saw the benefits, but for a third token to come out, we'd have to see those benefits again.
Yeah, and segueing kind of into UFO. So like the Prairie Bernard was talking about, so UFO is kind of like a amplifier. I guess if you can kind of briefly explain a little bit more about the UFO.
Yeah, so UFO has a lot of the same features as PTGC. It's also a deflationary token. It also has built-in APY. It also generates revenue off of this massive liquidity web. But there is a little bit of a difference between the two. PTGC's liquidity is, for the most part, burnt or owned by the protocol. Pretty much 100% of the liquidity of PTGC is burnt or owned by the protocol, where 100% of the liquidity for UFO is actually supplied by the community, because there's a farm built into the token. So if you own UFO, you have the ability to pair it up with any of the RH tokens besides ProveX, and you can earn PLS rewards for putting your capital to work. That being said, UFO is almost a tenth of the market cap of PTGC. I think it's like an eighth, but it has pretty much more liquidity than PTGC. So if you're someone who's like very big on products having tons of liquidity, UFO has probably one of the best market cap to liquidity ratios that exist in cryptocurrency. The market cap's 5 million, and there's like $2.5 million of liquidity backing the project. And again, all that liquidity is being used to buy and burn PTGC. Some people like the idea with PTGC that the liquidity is protocol or burnt because they're afraid of users pulling the liquidity within UFO. I personally am not afraid of that at all. I see most of the users that are providing liquidity to date actually being incentivized very nicely to keep it there. And yes, there is people that leave and come, but for the most part, I think that liquidity is going to remain, and there isn't much of a risk in that area. And if they do leave, what that does open up is a better opportunity for new users to get those farming rewards.
Yeah, and that's a great explanation. But yeah, I did notice that huge liquidity web for UFO. I want to say when I first saw it, maybe it was like over 600K. I could be quoting that wrong, but it was a pretty big liquidity web.
Yeah, UFO has, what is it, $2.2 million of liquidity right now.
Oh, okay, so even more.
Yeah, it's 2.2 right now. It's only a 5 million market cap token. So there's so much liquidity for everyone who owns UFO. When we're at our all-time highs of UFO and PTGC, again, both their liquidities were pretty even, except PTGC is like a 5 to 10x higher market cap. But they were both at like roughly $20 million of liquidity each. That's how fast these liquidities and prices can start to rise on undervalued blockchains. The reason they're so sucked back right now is because PulseChain has sucked back like almost a 10x. Also, we've had a little bit of a pullback as well. Again, that's an opportunity not only for new users, but also an opportunity for their already existing community to DCA or onboard, because any value we onboard right now does so much more for the price than if we do it at all-time highs or after a 5x move, because our liquidity is so low at the moment. A $10,000 buy does more for the price than if we got that $10,000 buy-in after we do a 5x. So again, it's opportunity. I think a lot of people on PulseChain, even myself, would be stoked if PulseChain was just rocking. But there is silver linings to the event that we're in. These cheap prices are giving us the opportunity to really grow the protocol at these low level prices, distribute tokens to new holders. Some people are taking profits and leaving. Some people are growing their positions. And what this is going to do, I think, for our protocol long term, is it's going to make it to where our foundation is even larger than before. And the larger we make this foundation, the taller our building could be.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like if you have some PTGC, sounds like the best option also is to have your bag of UFO, because it's only going to help the protocol.
Yeah, some people ask like the suggestion, right? Like, oh, what do I do? Like, do I go just all in one? Is it a 50-50 thing? Personally, I can't say. I think most people are talking about X's. That's what they care about, like which one will do more X's from here. Unknown which one will do more X's. The one thing I like to highlight, though, is you can get the same size position in PTGC as UFO for really 10% of the cost. So if you had $10,000, even if you just put $1,000 in UFO, you would be in 9,000 in PTGC, you would be getting almost the same size positions. So I personally think like, hey, it's worth throwing a little bit over to the amplifier, which is also still benefiting PTGC. Some people go even heavier because they like the fact that they're getting more tokens for cheaper. You can run simulations on this calculator that Banana's pulling up right now. When UFO, if UFO in the future has the same amount of volume as PTGC, the opportunities on UFO at these prices are insane. There's no guarantee that they have the same amount of volume in the future. When PulseChain was pumping, they actually did have roughly the same amount of volume. UFO's liquidity web is absolutely massive, and when the things that the liquidity web is built with is kind of moving around a bunch, it does very well. So if you do speculate that PulseChain will be successful and that liquidity web will really wake up again, there is a crazy opportunity in the price of UFO at the moment, because the more supply you get, the more APY you receive, because the APY is paid out to you based on the percentage of supply that you own.
While we're talking about it, let's walk through a simulation. So we put $5,000 into this calculator. We're going to split it evenly between PTGC and UFO. So you're going to get $2,375 or thereabouts of each. So here down here are, and we're going to set the volume to $1 million. And down here, you can see the number of tokens you would get: 18 million PTGC, 500 million UFO, almost 500 million. So we're going to maximize the holding and staking on the PTGC. And the UFO, we're going to split. We're going to hold some, half of it, and LP the other half. And if you LP UFO, it's an opportunity to LP with RH tickers. When you LP UFO and you got to do it on the DApp, you earn Pulse as the reward token. But when you hold it, you earn UFO. So here are the results down here. Yearly, this would earn at today's at $1 million in volume for every day for the next year. Over the next year, this bag would earn $551 or 4 million tokens. You're earning 4 million tokens, not knowing what the price performance is going to be over the next year. And that 4 million tokens is based on today's price. Same with UFO. But UFO yearly, you'd earn $5,000, just under $5,000. And here's your APY down here on that UFO bag. So yeah, the UFO is looking really good right now.
Yeah, so that's some nice dividends on the UFO side, because to your point, you're getting more of the supply there. So that plays a factor into it. But that's definitely some great yield there with the UFO.
PTGC gets all the attention. It was the first to market. It has way more moving parts, and it's kind of like it's the gateway to the system. But really, if you're going to buy one asset, they're both so thickly bonded to each other. They're going to move with each other to some degree. But yeah, you can get a lot more supply of UFO right now. This is looking really good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and shouts out to everybody that is watching. I definitely appreciate it. If you could do me a favor, smash the like button if you're listening on YouTube. I definitely appreciate it. That just kind of helps push the content out for us. But yeah, it is a great opportunity. And again, like you said, you're getting that on the Gray's currency side. You're getting that 4 million in additional tokens at today's prices. So imagine when we do get that magic carpet ride, then that's where the gains truly pick up.
What's genius about this ecosystem is that like every right now, a lot of people are rotating out of their core assets into the new shiny object, ProveX, and it's causing downward pressure on UFO and PTGC. But we're over here holding these tokens, realizing that, okay, volume is up because of all this activity with ProveX on the network. So, and we earn more value when there's more volume. But at the same time, because the price is low, we're earning more tokens. When price is higher, we're going to earn the same value, but in fewer tokens, if that makes sense. So we're just stacking up tokens down here. And who knows what the value of those tokens is going to be one day. So I'm happy. I'm happy as a clam in mud holding PTGC and UFO because of even during these low price times and high volume. You don't get much better than high volume and low price.
Yeah, that's a great point, because at these low prices, you're getting more
tokens.
We all want more of the supply, so getting it while it's low, and you're continuing to earn that additional yield while we wait. And when the market's ready to send, then it's game over. Speaking of the market, because I have wanted to ask both of you guys this: do you think that the Clarity Act will be beneficial to crypto as a whole?
Xen?
So I don't know how good the information that I got was. Yesterday, I was looking at something where someone said that the SEC just came out and kind of created their own Clarity Act because this has been taking so long. Let me know if that's incorrect. And they pretty much was labeling everything besides tokenized stocks not a security.
Yeah.
So pretty much we've gotten the A-OK on majority of crypto that it currently exists. Obviously, we do believe a lot of more in real life stuff is going to be tokenized. The ones that are securities in the real world, when you bring it to blockchain, they're going to be securities also. But to have that clarity, I think, is super, super big, because a lot of these institutions didn't want to start dragging a lot of their value into blockchain without the clarity there. Right? It was a big deal for them to get the clarity, because they're investing with actual businesses. It's not just Banana or, Crypto Neptune doing it themselves. They're actually working with a whole company's set of money. I think it's going to be big. I think it's more of like a slow, we get the growth of it throughout time. But with that clarity now, and with clarity to protocols like PTGC, UFO, other great DeFi protocols out there, meme tokens, I think some of the best news we could get.
What are your thoughts, the Prairie Banana?
I've heard that there's a lot of money. I mean, a lot of capital on the sides waiting for clarity. Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars and you're thinking about throwing it into a speculative market, and especially if it's involving other people and you are responsible for this hundreds of millions of dollars that some other people have an interest in, you really need to be cautious when entering a speculative market like crypto. So the Clarity Act would, I think, open the doors to a lot of capital. That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's a great point, because to your point, there's literally big bags on the sideline waiting to essentially well into crypto. So yeah, I think it's going to be a positive. Also, once they finally get it finalized, then that's where we're going to start to see some of these alts start to move. And alts like we're talking about today, PTGC, UFO are going to go on a nice run.
There's another question in the chat. There you go.
Yeah, let's post it up there. Let's see. Is the crypto cycle as we know it broken, pertaining to the bottom coming this year, Neptune? Let's see. BTC bottom is Q4 and Ethereum bottom this summer. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this question?
I think it was unique that we had, I think it was 6 red candles in a row for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I believe the last time we had that was roughly 8 years ago. So I do think that somewhat has sped up the cycle. I do think it's also unique that we've been in a bear market for alts for roughly, I think, 14 months now. So just because Bitcoin and Ethereum topped out in what was it, October or something like that.
Yeah.
With alt tokens, we topped out in general February 2025, or even January, December 2025, right when Trump was elected.
Yeah.
Personally, I think looking at Ethereum around $2,000, that's pretty much 60% down, not only from this cycle's high, but even the previous cycle's high. 60% discount from 2 cycle ago's high is an extreme deal. I think isn't worth passing up to try to get like another low. Obviously, the markets could go lower. Obviously, Bitcoin could go lower. Bitcoin's already again at like, what is it, a 50% discount from its all-time high. Again, things could go lower, but I do think the market is acting different than it has in the past. Look at last bull run. That cycle was way different than all the other previous cycles. So I don't think you should judge this cycle like all the rest. Again, I do think it is possible that the bear market continues, but I also look at great deals and great prices. And when you have ETH sitting at a strong $2,000, and that's 60% down from the all-time highs 2 cycles ago, and you have good sustainable alt tokens at 95% discounts and have consolidated into that 95% discount for an entire like 12, 13 months, like PTGC and UFO. I do think products like that are worth putting some skin in the game, because if I didn't have horses in this race, I would have a hard time sleeping at night knowing crypto could go at any moment, especially with these Clarity Acts coming out soon and stuff like that. Like, they do not have to give you the prices that you're waiting on. Even last cycle, a lot of people were calling for certain levels on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Market completely front ran those levels and moved on without them. They never were able to get those levels that they were hoping for.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem people run into. Like you said, they they're waiting for that other or more of a dip, and it never gets to that point. So yeah, definitely around these ranges for Ethereum, which is 2,000. Definitely around these ranges are good to try to get an extra bag of it. But like to your point, like in 2021, it definitely was like a different cycle. Uh, Things this go around, it seems like it's been kind of prolonged or more kind of a bearish trend on alts. So I don't know. It could. It's a totally different ball game considering we have like the institutions involved. So things could change towards the latter half of the year. At least for me, I would hope so. But pretty much more to come on that. But definitely would love to see everything kind of turn around and we get those gains we want with those alts.
Yeah, and not to mention, we saw, PTGC at, I think we hit 18 million market cap. We saw Ethereum, I think, hit $1,800 at Ethereum. Yeah. We're obviously up from those levels, but keep your eye on those levels. You know what I mean? Like, if PTGC runs back to that level, like, dude, I think that's a steal. I don't even think we are going back to those levels, but we could. And if we do, like, dude, huge opportunity if you're patient enough to wait for it. Worth a strong DCA for sure. If Ethereum goes back to 18K, I think that's a strong DCA. It could go lower, so that's why DCAing is an important method. But don't expect the market to do what you think it's going to do, because this last cycle, it did a whole lot of not what people thought it was going to do.
Yeah, definitely very unpredictable in the market. And Charles, thanks for your comment here. It says if you hold 100 million PTGC and 3 million comes into PTGC and 10 million comes into all the RH cores, your 10 million PTC bag will be worth over $4 million. Easily done. All aboard. Yeah, and that's a great comment of the power of PTGC and what it has to offer.
Yeah, the power of being on an undervalued e-liquid blockchain is we can do crazy amounts of X's with very, very little capital. We actually don't even need to worry about having lack of or too much liquidity ourselves, in my opinion. That's why one of our big focuses is, hey, get the liquidity in there, because X's, when this thing goes, when PulseChain gets its time to shine, X's are going to be easy. It takes so little value to give us X's, like he was just saying, 3 million into PTGC, 10 million coming into PulseChain as an entire blockchain. Like the X's on that are insane and life-changing for most people who take action at these low levels. But you can't wait, or you can, but if you wait for the confirmations of a bull market and stuff like that, half the bull market's over, right? So I more look at it as, hey, look for the good, sustainable projects, DCA those for sures, that ones that you think for sure are going to have its time in the light this coming cycle. DCA those ones at the lows, and then buy the random runners throughout the bull. Like there's always going to be those random runners once you get confirmation and stuff like that. Most of them being meme coins that die anyways.
Yeah.
But at the lows is the great time to kind of look throughout cryptocurrency, look who's proven themselves, look what systems have proven themselves. You're going to get super sales on even the best of products. You're going to get super sales on Ethereum, maybe not compared to 10 years ago, but compared to what people were paying 5 years ago, you're getting like a 60% discount still today. And I think that's an opportunity. I think even PTGC at this 30 mil market cap level is an opportunity, UFO at a 5 mil market cap level. And those opportunities can disappear so quick. And those X's are the easiest X's.
Yeah. Always be ready. And to your point, DCA those conviction bags, sprinkle in some wild cards. And you, like I always tell people on this channel too, use risk capital only. Use your risk capital, use risk capital only, so that way you sleep better at night, but also you feel better because you're giving yourself an opportunity for the future. That's kind of how I look at it. I'm willing to take the risk if it's going to better my life. So I will gladly DCA, use my risk capital, and just see what happens. We don't know what the future holds, so it's definitely an opportunity and great to be in an amazing project like the Grace Currency.
Yeah, that was kind of my advice for anyone onboarding. I feel like anyone in real life, if you go friends, families, acquaintances, coworkers, everyone has a little bit of that casino money. Some people it's $50, money that they spend at the bar on the weekend. Some people it's $5,000, $10,000. Everyone's different, and especially what they're willing to risk for the reward. But I do think everyone does have a risk to reward, and increase the community. Spend a little time with someone, even if it's $50, and get them a bag of PTGC. Maybe it's, maybe it's not worth taking them through the whole onboarding process. Maybe you make a little deal with them and you give them some PTGC or something like that. But get their eyeballs on it. Get them paying attention. Get them watching the chart. Get them educating themselves, because you never know who your onboard might onboard as well. You might only onboard someone $500, but next thing you know, they onboarded someone worth 15,000.
Yeah. Continue to spread the message of PTGC, and like you said, maybe send them a bag of PTGC so that they at least kind of watch it.
Yep.
And
yeah,
like
maybe they take care of you at the bar. They buy you a few drinks in exchange. You give them some PTGC, and then tell them to keep watching it and learn and educate. They got some skin in the game then.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Give me something to drink at the bar, and and then in return, give them some PTGC, and the rest is history.
Have we talked much about the X multiplier? I think that's a key factor in all of this. And in looking forward, have we explained that X multiplier, Xen? I don't recall.
Not really. Let's hop over there real quick.
Okay, let's do that. Do you want to explain how it works first before we do a calculation?
Yeah, so this is an idea I believe I'm one of the first people to break down to this extent. I've spent a lot of time watching educators on cryptocurrency, and I've never heard anyone break it down in this fashion. I call it the X multiplier. Pretty much what it is if you're tracking your token against like the gas token of the blockchain or your main liquidity pair, and you also are tracking what you are paired to, what you are paired to, let's say ETH or Pulse or BNB or Solana, if those are where your liquidity is, you get to actually multiply the gains those tokens do against the amount of gains you can do against them. A lot of people thought it was like an addition thing or didn't even know that these two things factored in gains. But what this actually creates is the ability to do crazy amounts of X's with a very short amount of time. PTGC's done, I think, 800 X's in a matter of, I think it was 13 months. We went from a 5 mil market cap all the way up to a 450 mil market cap utilizing this method. Richard was able to utilize this method to pull off a 10,000x on Ethereum. He actually did a 1,000x against Ethereum, and Ethereum did a 10x. That equaled a 10,000x. Us being at very low levels on PulseChain, currently over a 10x from sacrifice price. I think we're at 11x from now. We get to utilize this a lot more than normal. An 11x is actually easy on PulseChain. And then whatever we can do against PulseChain, which takes very little amounts of revenue, $3 million can do a lot for PTGC at these price ranges. We're not only able to multiply those by each other, but we're also able to use those gains as a huge value generation source for our system.
Anything else you want to add, the Prairie Banana?
No, that X, I'll just put my stamp of approval on that. X multiplier is it's impactful. Like it's huge, especially down at the bottom of the chain, like we are right now. And so we've got this calculator pulled up, and I put in a dolphin position, which is 29 million PTGC tokens, $3,700 worth of tokens right now, and we're going to simulate 100x on PLS. Is that my opinion? If PulseChain doesn't do 100x this cycle from the bottom, then it's a failure. So let's hope we do 100x, and we're going to put it in the calculator. Yeah. So that put the price at 0.001. So PTGC gets all of those X's. That's 100x. Okay, but PTGC has a history of moving up against the chain, as we saw earlier on Dex Screener. You know, I'm going to assume that perhaps we could do a 10x against the chain. So that would be a 10 times 100. Yeah, I went a little aggressive on this one. And then it'd be 1,000x.
Oh, wow.
1,000x for PTGC. So what would that look like? Let's see. Oh, I lost my number here. 0.001. Mm-hmm. That would put PTGC at about 1.5 cents. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. 14 cents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's 1,000x. You turn every dollar into 1,000.
A lot of people would be happy with 14 cents PTGC.
Yeah.
Saying.
Yeah, a lot of people would be happy with 1 cent PTGC. But the point is, those X's are a lot easier achievable because of where we are on PulseChain. A 100x from sac price is a lot different than a 100x from the prices we are today. From the prices we are today, that's only 10x sac price. When PulseChain launched, it actually got to 3 times sac price. So that's only a 3x away from the scenario that we're putting forward. So we're pretty much saying, hey, we think this cycle PulseChain could do a 3x more than it did last cycle when it first launched. That's not much. You know what I mean? That's not much more than what, and it actually doesn't cost a lot for PulseChain to get to those levels, is the crazy thing too. And it doesn't cost a lot for PTGC to get to those levels too. For an example, for PTGC to do a 10x at these current liquidity levels, it only cost us $3.2 million. So if our community for the next few months worked really hard to get in value, if we got $3.2 million of value in, we could do that 10x over PulseChain. And then I wanted to see how much it costs for PulseChain. For PulseChain to do a 100x from these levels, it only costs PulseChain $21 million.
Yeah, that's definitely very impactful stuff. But to your point, it's easier to move on PulseChain, and those potential for those X's are there. Yeah,
it doesn't cost us. Like I said, $21 million going into PulseChain makes PulseChain do 100x. $3 million into PTGC makes PTGC do a 10x, and that's net positive value. So that's after buys and sells. You need to get the net positive of those numbers, but still very, very achievable for a blockchain, especially when you're on a blockchain with a founder who's a rumored billionaire.
Yeah. We're hoping, and not that PTGC needs it, because you guys, and I've watched a lot of content on PTGC, it has the ability, whether Richard decides to put in all those bag of ETH into the chain, this protocol is still going to be self-sustaining, still running, and still going to be able to do those X's as well.
Yep. I mean, even if you just put PulseChain at its previous all-time high, which I think was 302, does that sound right? That's a 22.
Yeah, that was not like the launch all-time high, but the all-time high that came, I think, like 6 months after launch.
So if you think that PulseChain's going to its previous all-time high, and if PTGC does a 10x above that, that would be about a 3-cent PTGC, 221x. That's just to its all-time high.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to also ask this. So the affiliate program, do you need to hold a bag of, because I want to bring this up, do you need to hold a bag of PTGC in order to use the affiliate program?
Nope. All you need to do is visit goptgc.com, which is this website right here.
Yeah.
Click on the onboarding tab. You got to connect your wallet and then generate a referral link.
Yeah, so that would be a way for somebody, let's say, obviously we would want you to be acquiring PTGC. However, you can create a referral link and still be able to earn on those rewards.
Yeah, I think it's understandable where people are at right now, especially on PulseChain, and even in the market. We have ETH the same price as it was like 6 years ago. Some people just don't have extra capital to bring in at this point. They might have DCA'd too many times in other projects or bought in rug pulls, and they're just tapped out with their own finances. But some people are still passionate about cryptocurrency. Some people believe in PTGC and understand it. They just don't have the capital to bring solely into it. And you now have the ability to earn PTGC for free for increasing the community size, so for onboarding. And once you onboard someone one time, you're earning forever, because that PTGC that drips into your wallet is now earning PTGC with every single transaction. You just got to, start the process. I obviously do understand the fill before you shill thing. So, I think it is best to grab a bag also, but I do understand that for some people that's just not in the cards. But that doesn't make it to where PTGC isn't a good product. That doesn't mean PTGC can't change your life. By increasing the community size and onboarding and telling people about PTGC, you can now earn PTGC. It's 2% of whatever you bring in. So if you brought in $100,000 in a couple months of PTGC, you would earn $2,000 of PTGC. And keep in mind, with the numbers we were just talking about, if you get those buys in before the revaluation, it's a big deal. You're still getting a lot of tokens. So $2,000 now, and we pull off 100x, you have $200,000 of PTGC. For a lot of people, that's life-changing. That's a way you pay off your house, or maybe that's your first down payment on a house, or you know what I mean? Maybe that gets all your kids through school if you got a bunch of them. It is life-changing, and you in a situation now with effort, you don't even need to buy a bag to get that life-changing opportunity. You just have to put in some groundwork.
Yeah, I've been getting my referral link out in public, and about 10 days ago, somebody bought $10,000 worth of PTGC with my referral link.
Oh, wow.
So I literally earned.
That's crazy.
A 1.5 million PTGC. 1.5 million. And if it goes to the numbers that we've been demonstrating, I'm going to be very, very thankful that I got my referral link out there. And
that's definitely a blessing that they use your referral link. But again, that's just the power of educating people, spreading the word of what you have in front of you, which is a index of tokens that you can earn yield on, is kind of the way I like to explain it. But that's definitely cool. But the impact here on the screen, far as the affiliate program, it's a big deal. Like just bringing more eyes to the chain and to PTGC.
Do you have a referral link?
I sure do. It is in the YouTube description.
Oh, good.
If you want to buy you a bag of PTGC and support the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I'll one up you. Buy a bag of PTGC with Crypto Neptune's referral link, ladies and gentlemen. Put your referral link in the comment section so people can click on it and get to it right away.
Yeah.
So yeah,
let me pull it up on my side on this other screen.
It's an easy way for you guys to tip Crypto Neptune for the content that he creates for us.
And it doesn't cost you anything. You're getting the exact same deal you would get by buying on PulseX. So you're now helping the people who are helping you, and actually it's costing you nothing. What's paying them out is the DAO.
Right. So let's get Crypto Neptune on the leaderboard. Has there been a transaction with that wallet? I mean, with that referral link?
No, none yet, but I definitely would appreciate it.
All right, let's get it. Let's get Crypto Neptune on our leaderboard. We have a leaderboard that.
So right now it is a I think with social media, YouTube views are at really low levels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why I've been kind of really telling people, hey, knock on the doors in real life a little bit. It's really quiet in crypto Twitter, YouTube right now. But I do think with just kind of staying active with it, the people will start to come, right? Users will start to be paying attention. They will start trickling into YouTube again. Just be ready for that. Have your links ready. Be in the movement, the momentum. And I think that's where a lot of people will get rewarded with these links, by especially content creators and stuff like that. But yeah, in the meantime, don't be afraid to knock on a few doors, send a couple texts out. And again, it's not about them spending their life savings on this thing. It's, hey, do you have some casino money that you're willing to take a huge risk on, or a huge reward on, minimum risk on? Because I look at these prices as minimum risk, but maximum reward. The maximum reward you could get on this is crazy. We're just running through scenarios where a 200x is actually pretty easy. What you're risking, I do think you should always risk what you are willing to lose. But I do think everyone has a little bit of casino money or, play money or whatever you want to call it. And I think this is a good place for a lot of people to store it, because a little amount could change your life. And if you don't even have that little amount, have them on board. Maybe how they get their bag is they know someone who would want to be involved in a protocol like this. They might not have the value themselves to put in, but by them introducing this product to, let's say, a big player that comes in with $100,000, they just got themselves almost a dolphin position of PTGC at these prices.
Yeah, there's another gentleman that's been recommending to his audience that they use his referral link, Crypto 7, just for about maybe 4 or 5 weeks or so. And he's had a total of 19 unique buyers buy with his referral link. And you can see it right here in the pie chart, all the different purchases. So that's what we want to see. We want to see a pie chart for your account like that.
I definitely would appreciate it. But it is a beautiful thing to see. Like, I like seeing people get blessed anyway. So that's cool to see that they're onboarding. And see, this is what I like about projects like this, is being agile and thinking outside the box. What can we do to make this project better? And you have the referral link. And it's the same thing. It's in every aspect of every business. When I look at my American Express card and look in there, there is a refer friends link. So it's the same thing in any financial system. Everyone wants some sort of referral and bringing on new business.
Yep. All right, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, like on my side, that's pretty much it. I don't know if you had any closing remarks or anything else you would like to add about the project?
I have an update that Shaka just made live a few minutes ago that we can show the community real quick. This site that we're on,
Let's do that.
PTGC-UFO, it's a community-built site, completely free for the community. Shaka Vibes is the builder of this. He's given it to the community completely free. He makes updates all the time if anyone has suggestions. Someone had a suggestion to add a combined burn stat and a combined value generated stat on the socials tab. Banana, if you want to hop over there real quick, just because this is the latest on it, maybe it's, not, some of the sweetest features on here, like the affiliates page and charts and stuff, but this is brand new. So this is the burn section, super cool to just see where PTGC and UFO are burnt together. Together, they've burnt $6 million of PTGC and UFO. And then you can also see the amount of PTGC and UFO that have been burnt in the last 24 hours. You can also see how much PTGC and UFO have been burnt in the last 90 days. One thing that's super interesting, this again highlights UFO being at such a lower price, and maybe it's starting to wake up a little bit, is PTGC's bought and burnt $94,000 in the last 90 days. It's 2 shark positions. UFO's only bought and burnt $20,000, but it's 4 shark positions. So UFO is currently burning in supply at a faster rate, but in dollar value, PTGC is beating UFO.
This is pretty impactful.
And then if you close out of this real quick, if you go right under that box, Banana, you can go to combined value generation. Yep, this is brand new as well. And what this showcases together, the amount of value generation between the 2 products. I think it auto goes to 90 days. And this is showing us the amount of value PTGC and UFO have generated in 90 days. It's $293,000. Keep in mind, in the last 90 days, PulseChain has barely been above a tenth of SAC price. So this system has been able to generate roughly $300,000 with PulseChain 10 times lower than sacrifice price. With PulseChain just going up to sacrifice price, we can see this system generating $3 million in a matter of 3 months. And obviously, we hope PulseChain's a lot more successful than that. The only way you're exposed to this value generation is by owning PTGC. You have to be a part of the system. And that value goes 100% back to all the features that matter. That goes back to APY for holding the product. This goes back to buybacks and burns, and this goes to LP ads as well, and also paying out the affiliate program. But I think it's just important to highlight, the environment that we're in. We're still able, on average, to generate $100,000 a month between the 2 protocols, and we're at such low levels still. And I'm just excited to not only see the system be at these levels here, but know that where it could be in the future as well. And the users have the opportunity today to buy the token at these prices, but that doesn't mean that the system will be valued at these prices forever. Take a look at Ethereum. At one point, people priced Ethereum at $15.
Yeah.
As it evolved, as it grew, that's not what it is today. And PTGC and UFO will evolve as well. It will generate more revenue in the future. The community will grow. It will evolve, I hope, into a true store value system like Ethereum. Users today have the opportunity to get very large positions for very cheap, and there's not a lot of tokens left in supply. PTGC only has 3% of its supply left in liquidity. Barely anyone in this world know PulseChain exists, let alone PTGC. And obviously, it's our main goal. Outreach, let people know that this product exists because it is powerful. It's a product everyone's been looking for. We just have to put it in front of their face.
So, I'm glad you brought that up. So there's only 3% of the supply left. So it's truly doing its thing and working. And it's generated, like you said, over close to 300K. What does that say? 90 days at the top? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yep. In 3 months. Yep.
Okay. And then you're saying if we 10x that, it could be 3 million in value generation in this protocol. That's
yeah. Yeah, and that's based on history and actually like real facts. The way we generate a lot of this revenue is through arbitrage bots. And as price of the blockchain moves up, our liquidity moves up pretty much evenly, if not more, because our price appreciation as well. So right now, our liquidity is roughly 2.5 million between PTGC, I think 5 million altogether. If PulseChain 10x's, our liquidity will automatically 10x as well. So we'd go from 5 million to 50 million. So you have to realize now arbitrage bots need to move 10 times more the amount of value to fix the pairs. So that's how we know with the increase of price and the increase of our liquidity, our volume actually increases pretty evenly as well, because the arbitrage bots need to move that much more value. So that's how I can feel pretty confident in saying, hey, based on math and numbers, by us just increasing our liquidity by 10x because we've increased price of the blockchain by 10x, we can actually see our value generation increase by 10x as well. And we've seen this happen in the past. Every time PulseChain has moved up, our volume has been moving up pretty much evenly with it as well, which that's what we want to see. We want to see as we grow, our value generation grow. And like you said, if we're generating $1 million a month, that's $12 million a year, all going back to the ecosystem and APY, buy and burns, LP ads. You can currently, there's no guarantees that will happen in the future, but if you believe in PulseChain, you believe in Richard, I think it's a good shot, and you can currently buy PTGC at its current value.
Yeah, and I'm always forthcoming and honest with people too, because there are no guarantees. But again, like you said, do you have a little bit of extra capital on the side that you could use to put into something like the Grace currency? And it is a value add. Been running for 2+ years on PulseChain, so definitely an impressive protocol.
Yeah, and I think the code is everything we need. I think our community is one of the strongest out there, and we're obviously putting a huge focus on increasing this community. If we get this community to the level that I think we can get it to, it's going to be different than anything that exists in cryptocurrency today. When you look at the top 100 tokens, there's a couple grassroots protocols, but none of them are truly value generation. Some of them slapped on value generation after they had like a successful meme coin run, but really no one uses them too much. But then you look at the other ones, and they are pretty much just VC-backed protocols that have companies behind them. But the companies cost money, right? And all the value generation that they create, none of the value is going to the buyback or the LP ads or the community of the token. The token is just slapped onto the side of a massive company that has employees that get paid their wages, right? So this is very unique in the way that I think we can give some of the largest cryptocurrencies a run for their money in value generation, but it's fully decentralized. We have no overhead. We have no company. So none of that value has to go to actually paying these places that don't benefit the price of the protocol or its holders. And it could be massive in the future.
Yeah, no VCs, a truly community-owned project. This is another thing too. Like, who came up with the branding? Because I absolutely love the branding. Because imagine this trending on CoinGecko, and you see that brand, you're gonna click. What is this PTGC? What is this UFO?
Yeah, well, I came up with the theme. We actually have changed the logo in the last, I think, a year ago to this new style logo that's a little bit more futuristic, which was a recommendation of my friend who has an actual marketing background. But as far as the theme goes, the alien theme, the alien head, the UFO tickers, the Grace currency, that was my idea, just because I studied a lot of things to get to this cryptocurrency. And another thing that I studied was, what's trending constantly on media. That would be a good mascot for a cryptocurrency. What's currently always reoccurring in the news. What's something everyone has thought about. When you look at YouTube, what's one of the most trending topics that people are searching on YouTube? It's alien videos for the most part. And then on top of that, when you look at every company, or not every company, when you look at a lot of companies and you look at every sports team, they all have a fun mascot that they want to rally behind. It has a lot to do with community building. It's been proven to be very impactful and effective for hundreds of years. Like team mascots have been around for hundreds of years. And if you look at a cryptocurrency as just a big team, I think the mascot's very important. And I personally think we have the best mascot for all of cryptocurrency, UFO and aliens.
Yeah, it's awesome, and great branding. That all counts. You have it's an awesome community. Great branding. I mean, it draws your eyes to it. So yeah, definitely a great job with putting that together. It looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's going to do quite well for us when we get ourselves in the top 100 of all cryptocurrencies. I think when people are scrolling on that first page of CoinGecko, they're like, what is this alien head?
Yeah, because you see it on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, and you look and you're like, okay, this is interesting. What's going on with this project? And it just, all it takes is one or two runners on your chain, and that's it.
We've already been like number 199, I think it was, on CoinGecko.
Yep, that's a great point. Yep, it's had several runs with PTGC.
It won't take much to get us in the top 150 or maybe even higher on that list.
Yep. So for me, like, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on and letting my audience know a little bit more about the project and kind of going from there. But I definitely appreciate you guys coming on and sharing more information about the Grace currency and UFO.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on, man.
Yep. I know we were waiting. It was a couple of weeks. We were kind of trying to figure out the right time, but I'm glad we're able to make it work. And
yeah, Banana, real quick before we go, I also was looking at the RH Core Liquidity. If you go to the socials tab as well, Shaka did get the PTGC PRVX, the ProveX token added. So this is a new update too. So right now between PTGC and UFO, we have $65,000 of liquidity with our protocol. So we're not only very well exposed to this new RH token, but we're generating revenue off of it too.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So the UFO piece I didn't know. As far as that, adding that liquidity to the ProveX side on that as well. So yeah, that's impressive. And this, again, it's another value add for this project.
Yeah, we're not done adding LPs. I mean, the DAO is always looking for projects that we can pair with. They don't come along every day, but when we do, that's one of the beauties of the DAO is that we have stables on the side, we have other tokens on the side, and we can strike when opportunity presents itself. So, I mean, we can even pair ourselves with real world assets when they come over to PulseChain. I mean, the DAO gives PTGC an extreme flexibility for extreme advantage over a lot of other ecosystems and tokens.
Yeah. And again, like I mentioned before, one of the things to where you don't get forgotten as a project is the ability to execute quickly. Like I've seen crypto projects in the past where their ability to move and adjust has been slow. So to me, this was impressive. Like I saw some chatter on X about adding this LP, and it was fairly quick. And again, I guess he said he also did a sacrifice too for ProveX. But so again, yeah, this was great to see this.
Yep. Thanks.
Sweet. Yeah. Awesome stream, guys.
Yep. So thanks everybody that is watching and gave us a little bit of time of your day. We definitely appreciate it and sincerely appreciate it. I normally don't do streams at all, like many of my viewers know. So glad you guys were able to tune in.
Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having us. I appreciate you taking time out of your day and stepping maybe out of your comfort zone a little bit and doing this, or just out of your normal routine and doing this for us. Obviously, me and Banana are more of like the stream group. We like just doing the live streams and running through the stuff. So thank you for doing that with us.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. And plus, too, I needed to, like I said, get out of my comfort zone anyway and do something like this. So, but yeah, it was a great experience and getting all this stuff set up. So it's pretty cool.
Thank
Right
you.
on. Well, now that you've done it once, you can do it again. So
There
I have
you
it
go.
back.
Yeah, there you go. I appreciate you guys' time.
Yep.
Have a
See
good
ya.
day.